I'm Nora Whittington with the Immigration Partnership of Waterloo Region. Our immigration partnership is one of approximately 80 across Canada. The goal of an immigration partnership is to ensure the successful integration of immigrants and refugees in Waterloo Region. Our goal is to look at housing, healthcare, English language, employment, and the true sense of belonging that we hope immigrants and refugees will have in our community. Our goal is to ensure that we can connect employers to immigrant and refugee talent in our region. And we partner with the Cambridge Chamber of Commerce to ensure that we can reach employers and share our message and be an ambassador for our community. We are really pleased to be able to support the Cambridge Chamber of Commerce on various initiatives, including these webinars. So welcome today.
Hello everyone and welcome to the webinar. Today's topic is going to be how to use video effectively on your website, and we will be sending you a copy of this presentation along with the live links that are embedded in the presentation. At the very end of the presentation, you'll also get an opportunity to click a link to have a free consultation with me, Mike Jennings. And thank you again to the Chamber for sponsoring this program, and without further ado, let's get rolling. First of all, a little bit about me and my team. Morsels has been in the Tri-City area now, Waterloo area now for 18 years. We are based in Cambridge, and we also have a satellite office down in Davenport, Florida. So we've been around quite a long time helping marketing professionals across North America in the B2B digital age. So we have a lot of experience, great team, a lot of expertise. So hopefully you get something out of this presentation. And feel free to connect with me directly afterwards, and we can just see if we have answering your questions directly. So first of all, let's do a quick agenda. We're going to be talking about why video is important, top 10 types of marketing videos, steps to create an effective video, production pro tips and hacks, get seen distribution points, and social media tips and tricks. First of all, let's talk a little bit about why video is so effective and so important. Only 14% of consumers will remember the last display or the last presentation that you made to them, but 80% of them will recall a video when it's included in your ads or presentations. So really important that video be included wherever you can, because it's much more memorable. Viewers are 85% more likely to be purchasing your product after they've seen your product video rather than just seeing a brochure or information on the internet. Companies also use video 40%, companies that use video are 40% more, get 41% more traffic when they do search than those that don't use video. And then 4 times as many consumers would rather watch a video than just see information about a product or download a PDF. Okay. Let's talk a little bit about email in video and how it gets opened. So how many of you guys get email on a regular basis and just delete it or dump it? And what you find though is that 84% of those people that get emails will actually open it when it has a video link in it. So if you're subscribing to information from a company or colleagues, you're most likely to open those videos, open those emails more when you see a video link in it. We've seen that with we have a newsletter that we put out every 6 weeks, and we can always see a massive boost in open rates when there is a video link included or embedded in those newsletters. Also, 43% of consumers are more likely to read email newsletters that have that in link, and we've just seen it over and over and over again. And think about it whenever you look at video, you'll always see open video more than you will in a regular email. So talk a little bit about the power of YouTube. So today's tools and platforms ensure a small and medium business can reach audiences and hang out online. It represents the biggest marketing opportunities for small business in a long time. And Google ranks sites higher that have a mixture of video as well as just other visuals and text. As you know, YouTube is owned by Google, and Google being the #1 search engine, owning the #2 search engine, YouTube, is only likely going to help you in your SEO boosts and getting you more traction on Google in general. So let's talk a little bit about the 10 types of videos. There's more, but typically we have it broken down into 10 types of videos. First of all, there's explainer videos. So just short videos using to explain the process, products and services. and post those on your website, on your homepage, landing pages that really help get hold attention on your website. These are all live video links in this slide when I send this presentation out to people. I don't play it here because they're just the bandwidth and the length of time it would take to show it all. We want to keep the presentation short and sweet for everybody. But when you get the slide deck, there's a live video that you'll be able to play. Then there's introduction facility videos. These are kind of like tours of facilities, tours of companies, tours of your plant, tours of your building, tours of your manufacturing process, tours of your demonstration processes. Any kind of tours or introduction to your facility are great. Kind of puts a reality check that you're there and you're for real when you're doing presentations to a client on your websites. Client testimonials and case studies are probably the best one that we use the most. One of our clients in the area of all construction, we have done dozens and dozens of testimonial videos for them because they do great buildings all around Ontario. And what you'll find is that those videos are seen and watched more than actual regular content on their website quite often. And it also just adds that credibility and trust to what you're saying, that you're not just talking a good fight, that you're actually making a presentation and people can track it and watch it. How-to or FAQ videos are great, especially if you've got a unique process or you've got some information you can share with your viewers that they'll find useful or helpful. Do a video and present that information. It's just a great way to hold their attention and get them to log on to you as a resource for future use. Product demonstrations, of course, if you're launching a new product or have a complex product or a new product, this is the way to promote it. Do a video how it works, demonstrate how it works, even installation, how to build it, whatever that may be, how it's more effective than the competition. And then subject matter interviews. This is where you interview someone on your staff or on your team, and they can talk to the audience about the expertise that was within your company, and really lends credibility to who you guys are as a company. And you can then provide that information to them, and that'll again just gives them more reason to come back to your website. The idea is we're always trying to get them to come back to your website. Success Partners, one of our clients up in Waterloo, they do Epicor ERP implementation, and they do a ton of video because they're always trying to further provide their expertise to their potential customers. So it's a great way for them to be able to do that on a regular basis and have customers coming back. Event tours and attendee interviews. The Chamber's done this. We've had different Chamber events where we've done kind of a virtual walkthrough of different events, and so this is the same kind of thing. Tours, attendee interviews. Attendee interviews are things like you see when people come out of a presentation or an event and they get stopped and they're asked, what did you think of that? And they give their feedback. Again, it's kind of like giving a Google review right on the spot. And it's a great way to build up an awareness of the event and to lend credibility and trust that event was great. And then educational courseware, just like we're doing today, we're doing a webinar. You can record the webinar, you can animate it, you can do what I'm doing, which is cameoing down the bottom corner here. Lots of different ways you can do that, but recording this kind of content just makes it excellent for people to watch and take in. The nice thing about it too is it's evergreen, so you can put this presentation together and refer to it over and over and over again, and you're not having to redo it time and time again. It's not like it's being updated all the time. And finally, product, service, and promotion videos. These are like basically a feature video or a highlight video of your product and services. A little usually shorter, quicker, just talking about the key elements of a product. It's not really a demonstration video like we talked about earlier. It's just more of a promotional video, usually short and sweet with some really key call to actions built into it. And then finally, company videos are great. Talking about your staff, your people, your shareholders, your customers, your prospects, all that good stuff. Talking to them about who you are, what you do, and why you should have conversations with them. And those are just the standard ones that you see as a company news video, and just talking a little what's going on. It's a great way to update or promote your newsletters if you have those going on as well. Okay, let's talk a little about steps about creating effective video. The first is, of course, is to decide what is the objective of the video. Do you have a product or a brand you're trying to build awareness? So then you might want to look at explainer videos, facility tours, that kind of stuff. If you're in sales, you want to do products and commercials. You want to do product demonstrations, client testimonials. If it's about product news, it's really good for social media. You can use videos, little short clip videos to put on your social media and on your website and your company news. And then, of course, if you're just looking for support and maybe you're a not-for-profit, then you can do educational videos as well, how-to videos. These are always just kind of great ways to build support, but also to support your product base. So if you're looking to do, if a company's got a product that's come out and it's kind of difficult to understand, doing a demonstration video or a how-to video, educational video is really good to kind of explain those videos. So those are kind of what are deciding on what are going to be the key objectives that your video is trying to achieve for your audience. Speaking of the audience, let's talk about what and who is your audience. What are we trying to say to the audience? We always like to call them personas. Some people call them avatars. Who are your audience? What's important to them? What do we want to communicate to them? Why do we think that's going to work best in video? And then think about their demographics and how they want to listen to stuff and get information. And then that decides a lot about what kind of videos you're going to do, how long it's going to be, how in depth it's going to be, what graphics you're going to use to support it, all that good stuff. Okay. Consider the tone of your video. Determine whether your video should be persuasive, entertaining, informative, institutional. Like, how do we want to kind of come across? Do you want to kind of have fun and make it kind of lighthearted? Do we want to be persuasive and all salesy? Give some thought to that. And also make sure that you're considering your brand and your brand and how your audience perceives that brand. Don't go creating, if you've been a pretty technical type company over the years, and that's what you people are used to seeing. Don't go off and do some kind of whimsical, funny video that people aren't going to recognize with your brand, unless that's something you're kind of trying to introduce. But we always like to make sure that your brand is reflected in your video styles that you're doing. Okay. We want to also think about what's the expected outcome of your video. Are we trying to just get people to be more aware of whatever you're talking about, your product? Or are we trying to get them to do something? Are we having a call to action at the end? We want them to make a next step. For example, with my video here, at the end of this presentation, there's a little link there I'd love you to click if you want to have a conversation with me. Or if you just want to download the PowerPoints, you can reach out to the chamber and they'll download the content for you. But what are you trying to achieve? What do you want to happen at the end of your video? Are we just trying to get likes? Are we trying to get it viral? What are we trying to do? Then think about production. It's always important. I'm kind of freewheeling this because I've done this presentation a bunch of times, but typically we always like to have a video that's got a script and a storyboard built around it, especially if you're going into higher production value stuff. You don't want to show up at a customer's place and be shooting stuff willy-nilly. We want to have a shot list created. We want to have a production schedule built out, so that when we get to a company's factory or a plant or facility, we know what we're going to shoot in what orders. We often go and do a preview walkthrough of what we're trying to achieve, where the different places are that we're going to shoot, and kind of put all that together so we know what we're going to be shooting. And then we also know how we want to edit that video, like how long is it going to be, what effects do we have to add in afterwards. So we always build that in, and it's very important to have that production level built out long before you go out and take your cameras out there and start shooting. And then last but not least, how's the video going to get out there? Clearly, we're going to probably use YouTube. Are we going to use it on your website? Are we going to be emailing it to people? Does it have to be a shorter, lower res version, tighter version of that? Posting it on social media, little mini clips of that. We often shoot tons and tons of videos for a client, but then we'll use little mini clips on social media and parse it out in different ways. So very important to think about what's the distribution going to be before we get going. So let's talk a little bit about production, some pro tips and hacks. Planning. We cannot stress enough how important planning is. The last thing you want to do is pay a video production company to come out and do a video for you and then try to wing it on the spot or not have planned it out in time. So as I mentioned earlier, complete a script and make sure you have a shot list, a minimum of at least of a shot list that says here's all the shots we're going to do today, so that you can time out how much time they need to be there. Make sure the areas are clean and prepared and people are ready to go. They're wearing the right kind of clothing, all that good stuff you need. Try to tell a story. Are we trying to wrap your information into a story format? Are we like people will always would rather watch a story than just somebody talking? I'm just talking to you, so I hope you're paying attention and you're sticking with me. But the idea there is we want to create a story that people can follow and will be intrigued enough that they'll want to get to the very end. What about, are we trying to be funny? Are we trying to have some action? Are we trying to have different people come into the video during different times? What are we trying to do? And then let's talk about showing, not telling. Don't rely on voiceovers as much as you can. That's why I have this little cameo here on the video. I think it's just more helpful to hear me and see me talking a little bit than it is just to be watching a slide deck that puts you to sleep. Prepare your location, as I mentioned earlier. Got to be there. Make sure the space is clean. Make sure the area is clean. Make sure people are tidy. Background areas are tidy. Nothing worse than we've gone to many a plant or a facility ready to shoot a machine right in front of us. The background of the facility is a disaster. It's dirty, grimy, noisy, cluttered. That just takes away from the video, makes it really hard to shoot. We end up having to bring in some tarps or something to drop in behind it just to hide that stuff. Takes up a lot of time, wastes a lot of time. So we always recommend you do a good walkthrough and make sure that you've got your whole area ready to go, and that your people are dressed up nicely. We've had places where we've gone to a shoot and people are just look like the guy just cut his lawn. It looked horrible. You know, didn't have a company shirt on. Or one time we went to a lab, they all have to have nice crisp lab coats on to look professional. So you want to make sure that you're thinking about that all the time. And then, as I said, make sure that your videographer has a chance to do a site visit and walkthrough. This will really help the situation. They'll point stuff out for you. Talent and narration. Some companies will want to have the owner or the president do the narration. If they're comfortable and they've been on video before, great. I'm all for it. I will tell you that 8 out of 10 CEOs are not comfortable or have not been in front of a camera before. Some of them become very natural on camera, most of them not. And usually they're not always necessarily the best person to be on camera. So we always recommend, if you're not going to have someone who's comfortable on camera narrating, then have a spokesperson come and do some narration for you. Hire a talent, have them come out, and they can be the walkthrough. We have some great talent that we've worked with over the years. Cheryl Plouffe being one of them, who's a former national broadcaster. So when we have a client that needs sort of a voice or a face, then we bring her in or other people in that are really professional and know how to speak to a camera. And avoid wearing dark black clothing or very busy patterns, because the camera won't pick all that up, or it just makes it really, really hard for the camera to pick it up, and it just makes it busier and noisier and just distracts from the video. Okay. Using the camera effectively. We talk about different equipment here. So for example, a slider is basically like a rail that has a camera that moves back and forth on it, which creates some movement, even though there may be not much going on in the shot. A person's just talking to the camera. We want to make sure that camera is able to move back and forth and pick that up, creates a little bit of movement. Of course, drones are awesome. We have a drone pilot videographer named Connor who does a fantastic job. Can fly a 3-foot drone through a 4-foot hole. You know, he's really, really good, and we've seen him do some incredible stuff internally in factories and all kinds of cool stuff, getting some great photography. Try zooms and pans. Make sure you're not just kind of sticking to the camera, kind of like I am today, just one holding camera and me being a talking head. You want to make sure that we're trying different camera angles and different looks and feels and different lighting effects as much as we can. And then avoid the shaky stuff by using a tripod, a gimbal, an Osmo device, some kind of tool that helps take out the shakes and make sure that we're capturing the video as cleanly as possible. Really, really important in post-production. B-roll. B-roll is video that's shot to support what the person is talking about. So if I'm the president of a company, I'm talking about our brand new facility, I'm really excited about this facility, then while that person's talking, you may have shot some B-roll of the facility that you could use to reinforce what they're talking about. So it's basically, you know, when you see a reporter on a newscast, they talk about an issue, but then they're not really seeing them on camera that much. You're seeing what's going on in the news report. That's what we mean by B-roll. It's B-roll that supports whatever they're talking about. And then lighting is everything. I haven't got too bad lighting today, and I try to set that up properly and make sure that you're getting good lighting, but we always make sure that we always have good front and side lighting to make sure that you're getting good definition and shadows. Always good to have a little small light on your recording device if possible. If you're kind of going kind of low tech, at least make sure you have sort of small lighting that you can make sure you're lighting the main subject. And then make sure that you're aware of where the sunlight might be. We don't want bright video in the background that's going to create shadows or silhouettes. And there's just a lot of different ways to look at lighting. And so we always recommend, if you're unsure, talk to an expert or go and do a test video and see what it looks like. And then you can always fill in lights as you need to. But always make sure that you're doing the kind of lighting that will make sure that the product is shown, or you're shown in the best possible way. Distraction free background. We talked a little bit about that already. Making sure that you don't have clutter in the background. Make sure that you, if you do a zooming or if you're doing some cool effects, you don't want to make sure that all of a sudden while you're zooming in on some product, something else in the background takes away from that. So always make sure that you have a decluttered background, nothing that's going to be distracted. Come in tighter if you need to avoid that kind of stuff, or even just shoot on a blank wall if you have to. We've often done that where we've just taken the product out of its environment and shot it in kind of in a blank wall or a blank background. Music and soundtrack, really cool. If you can add music over top of video really just makes it a bit more lively, a bit more interesting, as well as soundtracks. One of our clients has their own soundtrack they had developed years ago, and we use that all the time. That way when you hear that music, you know it's their videos. But you can buy great stock with licensed releases of stock music that you can buy. So it's really great to have that, especially in your introducing and exiting the video. It's a great way to do that. And on that note, titles and captions. Make sure that we have a good title at the beginning of the presentation and a good set of follow-up or call to actions at the end, as well as captions throughout. So whenever you're doing a video, if you have captions along the bottom, introducing the person, the speaker, or whatever the product is, make sure you have that as well. And then again, as I always mention, try to end with a call to action or some kind of result that you're hoping to get from the video at the end. Okay, we want to make sure that you get seen and that your video gets picked up. So there are a couple things that we always do. First of all, we want to obviously put your video on your website. And there are free video hosting platforms out there that you can, when I say free, they're free for the first couple of videos and then they charge. So you have things like Wistia is one of them, and other platforms that you can use. There's also free ones like Vimeo. But these platforms, the ones like Wistia and other products, sorry, the name escapes me right now, it'll come to me in a second. But one of the other products that you can get out there, they are usually free for the first 1 or 2 videos just to get you to come in and use their platforms, and then they want to charge you for every video usage after that. So be careful about that. You can use free ones like Vimeo, of course, and of course YouTube is free. And YouTube is a great way to get your video out there. We want to use YouTube as much as humanly possible to get video out there. But when people come back to your site, then we start looking at using a dedicated video player so we're not losing them down the YouTube rabbit hole. And if anyone's ever watched a video on a company's website, and then all of a sudden other videos come up, other things you might be interested in looking at, and all of a sudden you're watching something that you've no idea what you started off looking at, and you've totally gone off the website. That's what you call the YouTube rabbit hole. So a little bit about free video platforms available to everyone. Of course, free platforms are no longer free as they used to be. They often cluttered with ads, and if you're using, you'll see these videos you'll see on these different platforms. We have ads everywhere, even on YouTube. There are ads everywhere. And you're often stuck with the kind of formatting that they give you. But we really like to see that if you get on YouTube, you're always going to get great SEO value, but other platforms not so much. They kind of take it away because they're trying to drive you towards advertisers that are on their platforms, and very limited click-through capabilities and very limited analytics in those kind of platforms. So this is what I was talking about, the free video hosting platforms. We love YouTube, of course. 81% to 95% of adults use YouTube. Google loves YouTube because they own it and they cross-pollination all the time, and it's the best platform to be used. But there are other platforms out there, obviously. We all know about Instagram. Twitter's got video. LinkedIn has video now. All the platforms have video. But again, you're also being tied into whatever they want to feed in with your video as well. So you just got to be really careful there when you're using those guys. And then dedicated video platforms. These are ones again where you play it. You have an ad free. Again, I mentioned the product Wistia. It's a great product. Vidyard was the name I was trying to remember earlier. They're based out of actually Kitchener-Waterloo. Vidyard's a great product as well. But again, these platforms, Bright Cove being another one, are actually quite expensive when you start getting into them long term and using a lot of video on them. So be prepared for that. But we also recommend that you try them out, use them, get a demo of them, and it's a great way to play video on your website so that you're not losing people to the YouTube rabbit hole. You can do a lot of customization with them. Again, if you look at our website, moresales.ca, you'll see video on there. It's posted on YouTube, but it plays on our Wistia platform on our website, and we can customize the coloring of it. It has a playlist. It's got all kinds of cool features on it, and we can track it. There's a lot of SEO tools on there that I can track who watched the videos, how long they watched it, where they disengaged, all kind of stuff. And those analytics are really powerful to know. So there's a lot of positive things you can do when you're getting into a dedicated video platform. You just got to watch your costs. If you're doing 1 or 2 videos on your website, I wouldn't get into them at this point. I would just kind of leave it with YouTube and maybe Vimeo or something like that. Or get the free demo from Wistia, because again, you can use 1 or 2 videos without cost. If you're going to get into a lot of video in the long term, then you need to do your homework and kind of explore these platforms. Okay. Oh, and here's a sample of the video. Sorry, I jumped ahead there. The dedicated video platforms. This is what I was talking about earlier. Vidyard, Wistia, Bright Cove, Vimeo. We've talked about these already. You guys are probably familiar with some of these, but they're great products. Again, you just got to watch your costs. And some SEO tips and tricks. Publish video regularly. Don't just publish one and then just kind of think that's it. We really recommend that you publish video on a regular basis. Learn the basics of video and their SEO value. Make sure that you're labeling them, you're posting them properly, and that you're posting them on your website properly so you get that SEO value. Add transcripts wherever you can. So when you're shooting a video, you can have it transcribed. There's all kinds of tools out there, free tools out there to transcribe video. And then you can have that video playing along the bottom. And it's also add that content to your website as text, so that it helps on your SEO value. Add chapters to your video. There's some key parts that you want to think about. There's little bars you can have along the way that you can that tells you where the key parts are, that helps you jump to a chapter you want to get to. Use it in multiple platforms as I just described. And then you can also use thumbnails, so preview images. I always like to have those, when you see an email, make sure that you've got a great little thumbnail that has a little play button in the middle of it. Make sure that little thumbnail has a play button in the middle, and post that on your website or post it in your emails, because that again gets played. Those little thumbnails are key, but make sure you don't capture a thumbnail that makes the person look stupid, like they're in mid-sentence and their mouth's half open or something like that. Be careful how you grab a clip that has a proper thumbnail. And then know your platform. Make sure that you're posting it in the way that it's going to play properly. Test it again. Make sure everything's working properly, and that you're able to see the video on multiple devices, multiple platforms. Okay. So that kind of ends our presentation today. I'm trying to keep it under 30 minutes. I hope it's useful for you guys. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Typically, I do these presentations live, so obviously we can't have live presentations on this format, but please feel free to reach out to me. The next slide I'm going to show you, have my contact info there. You can listen to that, grab a screen capture with your phone if you want, and feel free to reach out to me. So without further ado, just a little bit about me again. As I mentioned, President of More Sales, and you can click that a QR code. You can click that, and we have this great little guide that we call the Digital Marketing in Changing Times. It's a great guide. It's about 30-odd pages. Really a simple PDF for you guys to look at. Click that QR code. It'll line you up to have a quick consultation with me, and then we'll send you along the guide. My email is right there, as is my 1-800 number. So please feel free to reach out to us, and we'd love an opportunity to talk to you and help you guys with anything you need. And of course, visit my website. Tons of video on moresales.ca. Lots of video of our customers, testimonials, and methodology videos, and lots of other cool stuff. So thank you very much for your time today. I hope this has been helpful. And again, if you need to reach me, contact information there. I'm going to leave it up there for a couple of seconds, and hope you have a great day. Thank you very much.